Hi, folks. This is Cheryl, and I'm joined by
And Rachel.
Rachel, and we're back. So, since the boys can't be here anymore, we've decided to do something new.
Yes.
Our new thing is we are bringing back the Disney Film Project. Todd suggests we call it Reloaded, so that's why we're all on Reloaded.
Yeah.
And we're back here discussing Disney Plus. Basically, if you haven't heard about Disney Plus, it's a streaming service by Disney where they've taken the whole Disney collection, putting it together and making it available for streaming. You can either pay $7.99 for the service. You can also add it onto your Hulu subscription, which Rachel did.
Yeah.
Or you could have bought it at D23 when D23 came out. Also, I know Verizon is offering a year free for its customers.
Yeah, that was actually a struggle. I spent the whole first day. I thought that we were eligible for it, and we had gotten emails about it. Turned out that our account was not eligible for it, and I was very upset. So I ended up getting it as an add-on through Hulu. So even though it says like new and some pre-existing customers, it's very certain pre-existing customers. So make sure to read the fine print on that one if you're a Verizon customer and excited about that promotion.
You always have to read those, find those letters. You never know.
Yes.
And so each week we're kind of discuss. It's not gonna be like the old thing. We're gonna pick one movie, do a long podcast about that one movie, and dig deep. We're not gonna do that this week. This way, we're gonna do basically 3 or 4 shows, and we're going to
Yep.
watch them. Some of them we may discuss with Rachel because just because of what we all like together.
Yes.
And some of them are going to be mystery because Rachel and I aren't really going to discuss what we're going to discuss every week. That's going to be kind of like the mystery of the show. So with that, Rachel, what was your first choice this week?
Okay, so my first choice this week was one of the Disney Plus original series. It currently has 2 episodes out right now, and the name of it is Encore. And kind of the face of this show has been Kristen Bell, who you know, of course, from Frozen, from The Good Place, all of her slew of work that she's done with Disney. Even though she's the face of the show and even the thumbnail for the show, she's honestly not in it very much. So if you're coming to it thinking this is the Kristen Bell show, it's not. It is really not. She just shows up for a few minutes in the first episode, and that's about it. I think she might be producing it. Maybe that's her role in all of it. But the premise is that it's a reality show. They bring back together the casts of these high school musicals from the 90s. So there's I think it's the 95 or 96 production of Annie. And the second episode is I think the 96 or 97 production of Beauty and the Beast at a high school in Texas. So it's kind of part class reunion, all these people that maybe haven't seen each other in 10 plus years coming back together and doing this show that they, had a lot of fond memories with. And then, of course, the other part of it is the thing of, they only have a week to put this show together that they may have done back in the day, but their company has to come back like 10 or 12 years after the fact. So some of them have kept up with the singing and performing thing, and others have definitely not. And you definitely get to see something that I experienced when I was in high school, which was the disparity between the male performers that typically they're just excited if they get enough guys to fill out the guy parts, and the girls that will be and maybe have done dance or have done other outside theater or done choir, and just have this certain level of performance that they bring to it, whereas the guys are just kind of having fun. But both episodes were surprisingly very emotional. They're definitely tear jerkers. The second one really got to me. Beauty and the Beast episode. But the Annie episode is also similarly very emotional. There's a storyline throughout it about the actor who played Daddy Warbucks in the show, and the fact that when he was doing the show in high school, he had actually been diagnosed with cancer and had been in and out of class and in and out of school all throughout that year. And the one thing that, like the doctors told him about his treatment was that he was going to lose his hair, and that was like something that he didn't have a choice about, and just happened to work out that he was also in the drama department and that they needed someone for the lead that had a bald head. But there's some very emotional moments with him revisiting this time in his life when he thought that maybe he might not be able to live to 18, which is a lot for a young person to go through. And the fact that now he does have hair, and there was the question in Hair and Makeup of, are you going to shave your head? And he's like, well, I didn't know this was going to be a thing for me, but having the choice, like back in that time, I didn't have a choice about whether or not I was going to lose my hair. And now I'm being faced with that again and having to kind of face a lot of those demons. So I would really recommend it for anyone that did like choir or theater back in high school, anyone who just kind of enjoys those behind the scenes sorts of things. It's very sweet, not mean, very, very nice. So I would definitely recommend it.
So my first choice was the actually last movie I watched as the part of this thing was Zootopia. I don't believe we ever talked about Zootopia on the podcast.
No, we didn't. Oh, it's such a good movie.
So I really like this movie because of the message. And the message is really, I mean, it's kind of hidden in there away from the kids, I'd have to say. And I also love that there's so much little acknowledges here and there. Example, when they go to see the weasel, that weasel is actually Alan Tudyk, and he's from Frozen, and he's actually Lord Wesseltown.
Wesseltown. And it's the whole thing of Weaseltown versus Wesseltown, yeah.
And I also looked at all the movies, and like I saw Moana, I'm like, oh my gosh, Meow.
Zootopia is really wonderful. I'm glad that you chose that one.
It's a really great movie to watch. I wish we could discuss it on the podcast. I would love to dig deeper into it and discuss more about the message and the characters, and also the let's say the word, I don't know how to say it, area basing of the characters. Basically, bunnies live with bunnies and foxes live with foxes, and everything lives separate except if you're in Zootopia.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel, what was your next pick?
So my next pick was, so I was going to talk about High School Musical, the musical, the first 2 episodes that are live. High School Musical, the series, because High School Musical, the musical apparently was not long enough of a title. I watched the first 2 episodes of it. It's basically shot mockumentary style. The premise is that the high school that is used for filming the High School Musical movies has never actually staged a production of High School Musical. And they have a new drama teacher coming in who's decided this is going to be her first big event that she puts on at the school, is she's going to stage a production of High School Musical. And it's like, there are parts of it that are very, very funny because it's very similar in style to something like Parks and Recreation or The Office, where it has these cutaways to characters and their reactions to the goings on and the various teen dramas or the various awkward things that come out in the midst of putting on a high school production, like terrible auditions. and having to sit through terrible auditions and put on a straight face and not make them feel embarrassed about the fact that they can't sing. Um, and I think I'm probably going to continue with the series. I think if you enjoyed the High School Musical movies, or maybe if they weren't even necessarily your cup of tea, I think you might still like them if you give it a watch. There's definitely a lot of kind of self-referential humor going on with it. Like there's a character who says that he's the resident High School Musical expert, and that he's watched the first one. I think he said like 18,000 times, and he's watched the first 15 minutes of the second and third one. So, which like that I was actually kind of shocked that they were willing to take a dig at themselves like that. But yeah, so far it's a lot of your typical sort of teen dramedy stuff. There's a couple that's in the show that recently broke up, but now they've been cast as Troy and Gabriella, so they have to like face each other, and they have to the director adds in a kiss at the end of the show, so they're having to deal with their feelings about having to kiss each other in front of, well, she's now dating someone else who's also in the show, and the fact that he's dealing with jealousy issues, that they're spending all this time together rehearsing, and whether he trusts her that, you know, in their relationship. So I would give a recommendation to High School Musical. It might not be necessarily for everybody, but I like I think it's really fun, and there's definitely a lot of potential in the way they've framed it.
So I guess the next show we should talk about is, sorry about the feedback. I apologize. Hold on.
Oh,
Actually, I wonder if I need microphones. Probably do. All right. The next one we're going to talk about is The Mandalorian. So we're not going to do too spoilery, though. I just want to remind Rachel that the old rules still exist about spoilers.
yes.
But what do you like about this show?
There's a certain baby that I don't think it's a spoiler, because this particular character has been making its rounds around social media
Well, I'll
because of
say the
how
bounty. Let's use the character name is the bounty.
the bounty. Yes,
Yes.
The bounty has been making its rounds on social media. Has been very memed. I'll send you a couple of my favorite ones later. That I actually have a small collection on my phone right now of some of the memes that I've seen about the bounty. Um, so far, I'm enjoying that it feels very Star Wars, like everything feels still very future, but kind of dirty and kind of Western and a little bit lawless. But it's a different, I feel like it's a different type of story than we've seen told so far, at least in Star Wars television or in film. Um, I mean, you might have seen this maybe with some of the novelizations, but honestly, there's a million of those. So there's probably a Star Wars story out there that does deal with this. Um, I'm liking Pedro Pascal so far as the lead. He's doing a killer job, despite the fact that he has a helmet on the entire time. Um, and the appearance of Werner Herzog as the, I'm trying to remember what his character's name is, but he's basically the person that gives him the bounty, that like gives him the mission with the bounty. It's always fun to see him pop up in these sorts of roles. The other, oh, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling on here a little bit.
That's okay. No, we're good. Remember, we're good.
Yeah.
We're still 14 minutes in. We're pretty good. We're not
So one thing that I really like about the cast of The Mandalorian is that it feels like people that probably growing up watched a lot of Star Wars, but never thought that they would get cast in a Star Wars project. Like, not someone that is your typical like who you would think of as your Luke, Leia, Han like prototypes.
Like Nick Nolte.
Yes. Who is fantastic. He's delightful. I really enjoyed him in it.
So I have also really liked this. I really like the guy on the planet. I'm gonna call him I don't know, retired fighter guy.
Call him the farmer, maybe?
Retired farmer. The farmer. I really enjoyed him because he was plain as fact. One, I mean, definitely plain as fact. Two, I mean, he helped him out a lot, especially with the Ewoks, which was what? No, sorry, not the Ewoks. I'm thinking the Jawas.
Yes, the Jawas. Yep.
Which was sad, yet hysterical at the same time.
So, do you have strong feelings about Jawas? Because Eric apparently has strong feelings about Jawas, and I didn't know this until we were watching the show.
I don't know. I mean, I've met Jawas, obviously. They're very friendly. They're very shy. So I kind of like them. But I can understand how they would get annoying.
See, Eric doesn't like them because Eric loves ships in the Star Wars universe, and they tend to take ships apart in pieces and take those parts and scatter and like take them and sell them. So he was, needless to say, like with events that happened, and he was not happy. But yeah, apparently he has had long-standing feelings about Jawas that he is not a fan of them.
So my next, I don't know where that feedback's coming from. What was my next movie? I'm trying to remember. I know I started a few. Oh, Endgame. So
another one we never got to discuss.
Another one we never got to do. A lot of that we didn't get to do. I mean, I don't think we even did. What do we do? Winter Soldier? Did we do?
I think we might have gotten to Winter Soldier,
but we didn't get to the one where they.
We didn't get
Captain
to Infinity
Marvel.
War.
I know we didn't get to Captain Marvel either.
No, we definitely did not.
So, if you've fallen off the plate, just in case you have, again, we're talking about current stuff. So if you're not up to date, we're going to try not to spoil things. But again, we do have to talk about the movies. So again, we're going to be doing this gently. But if you want to stop for 5 minutes and then come back and see what we're talking about, that's also cool.
Yes.
Because we'll also be doing this again on Facebook as well. This whole podcast, this whole video casting as well on Facebook next. Because I'm trying both ones to see which one comes better. So Star Wars Endgame starts with 6 years later. And it's pretty sad. Black Widow has gotten the charge currently, and she's there just doing check-ins with Rocket, Captain Marvel, over in Wakanda.
Yes.
And then we see Hawkeye, and Hawkeye loses his family. Which
his entire family,
which basically sends him way into the crazy world.
Yes, he pretty much snaps
back to his old life. So and we see the guy battling with Hawkeye, and the guy's like, how much can I pay you to not kill me? And Hawkeye's like, I don't care. There's nothing that can bring us back. So then we get back to part of this adventures. We get to Ant-Man. who Ant-Man was stuck in the quantum realm.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
and as per the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp,
and
I think that's the stinger scene. I think at the end of that.
and so that was also hilarious because he comes in basically in a locked up building. And so he's out there and he's like, whoa, wait, what happened to me? And then and then he manages to find the monuments and he's looking for Cassie. And then he finds himself. And then since it's years later, he goes to find Cassie. And Cassie's grown up a little since a lot since. I wish we'd seen some of the characters living with her, like the big cockroach.
Yeah.
That would be a cool throwback, but I get you can't get everything. So
yeah, I was gonna say this movie is already very long.
So after that, we come back into. He comes into the clubhouse academy, the Avengers. I forget what it's
Their
called. Headquarters. Yeah. And so he comes up with this idea of a time heist, and everyone's like, "What? You sure this is gonna work?" And the Hulk has split himself together, and basically he looks like Hulk, but he has the brain of Dr. Banner. So he's like, well, this could work. We should run this by Tony. So they go to Tony, and Tony's like, I'll get back to you on it. Just keep going. Just go off and I'll get back to you on it.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of he doesn't really want to go along with it because he's managed to kind of rebuild himself and has like a pretty good life with Pepper and has a kid, and he's like, I don't know what this time travel thing's going to do. Maybe that'll mess that all up. Because as we know from all of our time watching other things involving time travel can sometimes have catastrophic consequences that you don't expect.
Yes, which it did here as well, because we have to remember what happens next, at the end. So but he's enjoying life with his daughter. I think that's a big aspect here, is that he's enjoying that life with his daughter, which we know that he has a grandson in the universe. So we know she is living, or we know that she's gonna maybe become a boy. What series did that? Flash just did that.
Oh yeah.
When Flash went back in time, and they turned JJ's daughter into JJ's son, Diggle's son.
Oh. See, this is why I need to catch up on Flash.
Definitely.
I am very behind.
Yes, you're very behind. It's so good right now. I cannot tell you it's so good right now. So back to Marvel.
Yes.
So Tony goes through his thing and says, yes, we can do it. And now they have to figure out how they can get the most gems in the right period of time. And this is where we get a little bit iffy, because Tony's going to have to go back, because Tony's going to have to go back in time to a certain point. Captain America has to go get the hammer. And then the time stone is the hardest one, because this is the one where we haven't got Doctor Strange, right?
Doctor
Strange
Strange.
wasn't Doctor Strange yet. He was still a hospital doctor with people. So we go back into that, and they figure out where they're going. They send people off. They send Black Widow and Hawkeye together. Ant-Man has to stay back because he knows the machines.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, Ant-Man goes back because he goes with the Tesseract.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's one of our. Here's our first time up slip, folks. If you don't know, this is where we mess up once. So we'll talk about their venture. So during their venture, they mess up.
Yep.
Cat manages to have the thing, and then Tony's like, shocking me. And then it's like too much of a shock with Ant-Man. And then so we're like, uh-oh, we did. But in the meantime, Loki somehow realizes this is his chance.
Yeah.
And he takes it. He goes. So Loki escapes, folks. So that's one big thing that we all need to know, because this is going to affect us on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Because we know we're getting a Loki series on Disney Plus. We don't know when. We know it's coming.
It's promised, like that Obi-Wan show.
Just as long as they don't promise a Beverly Hills Chihuahua show, I think our listeners will be fine.
But come on, we know who would be the perfect star of the Beverly Hills Chihuahua show. Dobby, you want to be a Disney Plus star, huh? He's like, no, put me back on my heating pad. Okay.
So and then the Hulk gets to talk to the lady from Doctor Strange. I forget her name. I forget her character's name. Yeah. But they have a discussion, and she's like, "What? Give you this? I'm not gonna give you this. It needs to go with the holder." And he's like, "Trust me, promise me, I will bring it back. I mean, we will return it back to you." And she has to push him out of his mended self there to have the other conversation. But then he comes up with the best argument. He says, Doctor Strange wouldn't have let Thanos have it.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange gave it to Thanos. She's like, what? He gave this to Thanos? And he's like, yes. She goes, willingly? And he's like, yes. And so she comes and gives it to him and says, but I'm sure it came with like, I better get this back, or else you're all not coming. I'll figure out something else. But we'll also let the Tesseract slip away. So that's also what happens here in this scene, is that the Tesseract kind of slips away from us. So we're back with our missions, and someone isn't back.
Are we talking about
Black Widow?
Yeah.
We're not going to go too much into that scene because I kind of want to save that spoiler for people.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what happens, and basically the Soul Stone is you have to give a soul. That's why Thanos had taken Gamora, because he had to give the soul of something that really mattered to him, and unfortunately, Nebula wasn't it, and Gamora was. So, and we knew this. I mean, we all knew this. So So we come back to this shocking scene, and everyone is thus reeling from this.
Yeah.
But they said, but we've got to figure out how we get Tesseract now, because we missed out Tesseract and Loki walked off with it.
Yeah.
And so they come up with this plan of going back to time where Tony's father is
Mhm.
in the same place with the Tesseract way long ago. So first they ride the elevator with this lady, and Todd's like, "This is just some random lady." I'm like, "No, this isn't some random lady. We know Nick Fury worked at the thing.
Mhm.
Couldn't this be Nick Fury's mom that we're seeing?" I mean, she had the whole thing together. She had her whole self together. I mean, they never called her a name. There was no name ever given when she was like, "I need to report these mysterious guys." What were they like? Well, one was a soldier, and she really can't, but she's all together with it. It's like she's
Yeah.
like not upset about it. She's also like, this is a
Mhm.
we're having problems here. And then Tony gets time with his dad, which I
Yeah.
think is one of the best things to happen to him because of Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I was gonna say the relationship with his dad has always been like throughout all the movies. It's always been really complicated, and it's even more complicated by the fact that they weren't necessarily on the best terms, and then his dad was killed so suddenly in Winter Soldier.
So we get that back, and we get back. And then I forget what point we get everyone back. Oh, during the fight
Yeah.
scene is when we
Oh,
get
and
everyone back with
did we just
Thanos.
yeah did we discuss the Rocket and Thor misadventures, or are we leaving that out?
Basically, we can discuss that Thor finds himself again through his
Mhm.
mother.
Yes, he gets to see his mother again, so which
But
was really
he,
sweet.
but the good thing is also, I think he finds out that she knew she was dying.
Yeah,
I have to say that. I don't think he knew that she knew she was dying, but she knew. I mean, it was clear to me that this lady knew that, like, she was, I mean, he didn't have to tell her she was going to die. She knew. And she chose to keep going.
yeah,
I mean, he tries to stop her. He tries to tell her, "Don't go, don't go." And she's like, "That's not me, son. I can't mess with time."
mhm.
um, Maybe she's messed with time before.
How do you feel about depressed Thor as a whole? Like that whole subplot of especially Endgame.
I really think it's there as a funny plot point that we need to keep us entertained and happy in a whole sad bunch of stuff.
Hmm.
I think also we needed Rocket to be the one, because Rocket is hilarious on his own.
Yeah.
If you haven't followed my adventures at all, you don't know that I've never ridden the Tower of Terror until 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
basically. And basically 2 weeks ago, I rode Mission Breakout over in California, and all I could say is, "Wow, that is awesome ride ever."
Yeah.
I want to tell some right Disney executives and tell them, "Please make our Tower Mission Breakout. I don't care how many people cry."
I was gonna say you that is a controversial opinion.
But it's ours is so boring. It's like you're just sitting at a wall. It's like but with theirs, it's so fun to get. They got the music going. They've got you dancing. They've got
Mhm.
they've got rocket. They've got these scenes out. They've got these, and it's awesome. And they
Yeah,
even
and
do a special like after dark version where you chase monsters.
that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting to do that at some point. And I know how controversial it was when that happened, like when they first made that change to the California one. And I'm really glad that it's worked out. You
It's
know.
still controversial. A lot of people are upset about Heimlich's choo-choo train.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we have to keep, as Disney said, we have to keep changing, keep moving forward. And
Yep.
we will do so right now talking about the movie. So
Yes.
during the fight, um, everyone comes back, which is,
Yes.
it's amazing because they're like, well, we don't have a time machine anymore. What can we do? They said, oh, we do have a time machine. It's all the way over there.
Yep.
And at some point, they had Spider-Man. Both Spider-Man came back, as well
Mhm.
as everyone else who had been missing, which was really great.
Yep. Including
And
Valkyrie on a like
well, she had
Pegasus.
not been missing. Valkyrie had not been missing. She was just a
Yeah.
new what's the what's where what's where he's from? Where's Thor from?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hmm. New. Oh my gosh. What?
We're coming out with it, but we're it's
Yeah.
gonna come to us eventually.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
basically, new Asgard. There we go.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
New
Yes. New Asgard.
Asgard, aka the place which is apparently gonna be next to where, I don't know. I would think it would be funny if we did a comic about New Asgard being next to where Anna and Elsa are.
Yeah. It pretty much is.
But it would be funny if we did a cartoon on that one.
Yes. Well, since we know time travel is possible, wherever, whatever time that Anna and Elsa, that whole story is taking place, just hop in the time machine.
Well, we don't even need a time machine. I mean, they've been living next to each other for like over 6 years now, so maybe it's in the future. So everyone comes back finally. It's great to see the scenes where some people come back, especially like I said, Spider-Man, because Tony felt like he let go of Spider-Man. You know, he did the service to Spider-Man.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of guilt there on Tony's part.
I think too much guilt, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah. Because the thing is, with the snap, it wouldn't have mattered if, like, if Peter had been on that planet or back home. It's like if he had, been dusted, it would happen regardless of where he was. But, um, yeah, no, I think that Tony puts that on himself too much. But that's also because he's kind of taken on Peter as like he's like, you're like my son, kind of. You're not my son, but you're kind of my son.
Also, we get someone back who's new in an aspect. We get back new Gamora. As we Gamora 1.0, as we
Yes.
I like to call, as I'm calling her right now. So basically, this Gamora is being told by Nebula, "Well, this is what happened," and she goes to meet Peter, and he goes to like hug her, and she goes to slap him in the face, and he's like, wait, I'm back to this again, and she goes, why did I choose him? And Nebula was like, it was between him and a tree.
I mean, she's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but I don't know. I think there were more choices out there.
There's a whole giant universe, but
And then then we get the women loaded scene, as I like to call it. Is
yeah.
one point where like it's like Spider-Man's like, I have to get this over there, and Pepper's like, give it to me, And he's like, "You sure you can do this alone?" And all the women come together and says, "She's not alone."
I think except for has Captain Marvel shown up at this point though?
No, she shows up right then at the point where Thanos is thinking about doing something, and then she comes up and starts hammering Thanos.
Yeah. He like unleashes a bunch of firepower from the ships. So basically it's taking out everybody, including his own like men are getting killed in the midst of this. But he's just like, I don't care, do whatever you have to do, just like wipe them out. Yeah, and then Captain Marvel shows up and punches a hole through the ship.
And then here's where we discuss that, Tony has to pass away. This is the one, and the one means Tony has to pass away. Tony has to be the one to do that snap to undo things, and the snap kills him, as they were discussing. And originally, someone had to do the snap, and like Thor had volunteered, but everyone's like, "No, we don't want you to do it. We don't think we don't think, even though he's probably immortal, he could sustain it."
Yeah,
because of his, he wasn't up to snuff condition.
Yeah.
So basically I just wanted to, so I had started this movie on a plane and I just wanted to finish it. So I just went back and finished my last minutes. And I have to say, I really like this movie. I find stuff interesting because we'll learn from Spider-Man Homecoming a little interesting stuff that Captain Marvel brought back with her. Which maybe, I don't know if that's going to be on Disney Plus or not. We'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a movie. If it does come on Disney Plus, that's something I would recommend watching because the technology in that is awesome. Plus, you get to figure out what Captain Marvel brought back with her, and it's very changing.
I really enjoyed Spider-Man Far From Home. I like it. It was such a fun, like, and you don't usually get road trip superhero movies, and it's very much kind of a road trip movie, even though they're really in a bus for most of it or a plane. But
and
no,
then,
yeah.
And then let's bring back one more aspect before we leave out, which is Captain America gives up the shield.
Yes.
So basically, Captain America took the adventure time, and he went back to find out, well, what if? And so he's back. He says he didn't do anything. We'll figure out that one later, folks. I'm not sure there's a Captain America Jr. running out there, folks. I'm just saying. That's my prediction. Last time I made a prediction, Trump became president. So we'll see how this one does.
Oh geez, are we gonna be editing this part out?
No, it's actually true. So my friend Tom and Scarlett and Todd and I were all sitting at coffee and we're all talking about who's going to become next president. At the time, Trump was still doing Apprentice. He started doing his wrestling appearances for Vince McMahon at the same time in there. And so I just came out with Trump because of the reality TV that I wish Disney would come out with a reality TV series. I understand why they're not, though. That's a whole different discussion. But so I was asked, and I said Trump, and look where we are. Look where we are. But we won't. Neither of us will discuss the political commentary. We'll discuss that.
Yeah. The only thing that I will say is that I am wearing my Nasty Woman shirt today. But that was a coincidence. It was not planned.
But let's move on. There was one more movie I watched. I totally forget what it was, but I know what started this. It was actually being on Inside Out with the Story Geeks. So if you haven't checked out the Story Geeks, definitely check out those guys. They were really fun to talk with, and they brought this back in my mind. And I'm like, man, we should do this again. And then this contest came out right in our faces and said,
Yep.
be the ultimate fan. Talk about Disney Plus, and you can be our social media ambassador or something like that. And I was like, wait, we've already done that.
Yeah.
But let's do it again, because
Yeah.
I miss doing this. And this is
I do
definitely a shorter way for us to do this. Is thus us picking 3 or 4.
Yep.
And the one last thing I want to bring out before we leave is, how do you feel about the Gravity Falls and what they've done to Gravity Falls?
Oh, are you talking about the removal of the stuff from his hat?
Yes.
So, did you hear that was figured? They figured out what happened with that.
No.
So the story is that apparently there had been versions of the cartoon that were released in mainly Islamic countries, where they had removed the symbol because they thought that it might be perceived as offensive. And accidentally, part of those episodes were among the ones that were uploaded to Disney Plus. And then the other, because that's the thing, is only some of the episodes are missing the symbol and other ones are not. So, and people figured this out when they were going through the series on Disney Plus. Apparently, from what I understand, I might be wrong about this, but I think that they said that they are going to be fixing that probably sometime in the new year.
Well, from what the creator says, he's like, well, this symbol isn't just here. I've put it here, 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 and here. Because that's the type of guy he was, because it was kind of like the national treasure thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like National Treasure or like Welcome to Night Vale for kids. Like, there's clues and hints everywhere about things. Like, symbology is a big part of the show.
So I definitely think that that was weird, but I get that they want, if it's definitely something that could be misconstrued. I like them walking on the path of let's be safe, and then let's worry about it on the other end.
Yeah, but I think, honestly, in this case, I think that it was just that they got some of the episodes mixed up. Like, I think it was that they were uploading some of them from one source and some from another, and didn't realize that there was that discrepancy, that change had been made. There was actually one other show that I did want to talk about real quick before we were done here.
Before I give her the hook and we move over to Facebook.
It will be really quick. It's the Forky Show. Or do you want to talk about this over on Facebook?
I've not seen the Forky Show, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's a Forky Show on Disney Plus. There's 2 episodes out.
So tell us basically the premise of the show.
The premise of the show is each episode is called Forky Asks, What is Blank? And the first 2 episodes, it's money and friendship. And it's Forky literally asking, what is money? And in that one, Ham is explaining to him what money is and what it means to him. And in the friendship one, Forky has become friends with a coffee mug. And it again brings in the thing from Toy Story 4 of what is a toy and like what has kind of like an inner soul or whatever, and then what is just an object. And he's having this whole conversation with this coffee mug that has a smiley face on it. And it's hard to explain why it's so funny, but Tony Hale, just his delivery of it and the way they animate Forky it's hilarious. I can't recommend it enough.
So we're gonna leave you with that. And we're also going to remind you that if you need to watch Toy Story 4, I don't think it's out on Disney Plus yet, but
No,
it will soon be there,
it's
I'm
definitely
sure.
it will eventually. Yeah, the first 3 are on there.
So you can learn about that, and you can basically go over. I challenge you guys to create your own journeys and to share them with us. Maybe watch some of the stuff we watched. I don't think Rachel and I will be watching those anytime soon. But you never know. I'm trying not to as well. But well, thanks you for joining us this week. Like I said, we're moving this Facebook live show. We're moving this live show to Facebook now to catch our Facebook viewers. That's in case you're on there as well. And we'll be doing this for a couple weeks to see which one's more popular, which one we can get more people on, and to spread the word about us coming back, guys. If you tell your friends, tell your families, tell your enemies. If you don't like us, tell everyone that we're back and we're going to be here for a little bit doing this.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Facebook next. Bye, guys.
Bye.